There comes a moment in life when everything feels unfair. You try your best. You stay honest. You work hard. And yet, life still knocks you down. You watch others succeed with less effort. You see people who hurt you move on happily. And you're left wondering, why me? If you've ever felt tired, not physically, but mentally, this audiobook is for you. This is not about pretending everything is okay. This is not about fake positivity. This is about learning how to stay mentally strong when life doesn't play fair. Chapter 1. Life was never meant to be fair. At some point in life, most of us are forced to confront a painful truth. Life is not fair. We don't learn this lesson gently. We learn it when effort doesn't lead to results, when honesty goes unnoticed, when someone who caused pain seems to move forward without consequence, and when we do everything right, yet still fall behind. From childhood, many of us are taught an idea that sounds comforting but is deeply misleading. We are told that hard work always pays off, that good people are rewarded, that life has a way of balancing itself out. But real life doesn't operate by moral equations. It doesn't measure effort evenly. It doesn't wait for everyone to be ready. Some people are born with advantages, support, resources, confidence, connections. Others must build everything from scratch. Some people get opportunities early. Others have to wait, struggle, and fight just to be seen. When you don't understand this, unfairness feels personal. You start asking painful questions. Why them and not me? Why now? Why does it feel like I'm always trying harder just to stay in the same place? Mental suffering often begins not because life is unfair, but because we expect it to be fair. True mental strength begins when we release that expectation. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean approving injustice or pretending pain doesn't exist. Acceptance simply means seeing reality clearly, without denial. When you accept that life is unpredictable and uneven, you stop wasting energy fighting the truth. And that energy can finally be used to build resilience. Many people stay mentally exhausted because they're constantly arguing with reality. They replay events in their mind, wishing things had gone differently, wishing people had acted better, wishing outcomes had been kinder. But reality does not change because we resist it. It only changes when we respond to it wisely. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" The first question keeps you trapped in frustration. The second question opens the door to growth. Mentally strong people understand something most people don't. They know that fairness is not the foundation of peace. Acceptance is. This doesn't make them passive. It makes them grounded. They stop expecting life to protect them from pain and instead prepare themselves to handle it. When you accept that life isn't fair, you stop feeling betrayed by it. You stop taking every setback personally. You stop seeing challenges as proof that something is wrong with you. Instead, you begin to see hardship as part of the human experience. This shift is subtle but powerful. It removes the feeling of constant disappointment, and it replaces it with clarity. Clarity gives you strength. Once you accept reality, you gain freedom, the freedom to choose your response. You can't control where you started. You can't control every obstacle. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you move forward. Unfair moments reveal character. They show you who you are when things don't go your way. Do you become bitter, or do you become better? Mental strength isn't about never feeling anger or sadness. It's about not letting those emotions decide your future. Every unfair experience carries a hidden opportunity, not an opportunity for comfort, but for growth. Pain forces you to become more aware, more reflective, more intentional. Without difficulty, most people never discover their inner strength. It's often the unfair chapters of life that shape the strongest versions of ourselves. Think about your past. Some of the moments that changed you the most were not the easy ones. They were the moments that hurt, the moments that confused you, the moments that forced you to grow beyond who you were. Life doesn't grow us through fairness. It grows us through resistance. When you stop expecting fairness, you stop being constantly shocked by hardship. You begin to meet challenges with steadiness rather than panic. This doesn't mean you become cold or emotionless. It means you become prepared. Prepared to handle disappointment without collapsing. Prepared to move forward even when outcomes feel unjust. Prepared to trust yourself rather than circumstances. Mental strength begins here. Not with positivity, not with motivation, but with truth. Life was never meant to be fair, but you were meant to become strong. And strength begins with acceptance. Chapter 2. Pain does not mean you are weak. One of the most damaging beliefs we carry is the idea that pain is a sign of weakness. From a young age, many of us are taught, directly or indirectly, that strong people don't struggle, don't cry, don't break down. We learn to admire those who appear unshaken, unaffected, and always in control. Over time, this creates a quiet pressure inside us. If I'm hurting, something must be wrong with me. But that belief is not only false, it's dangerous. Pain is not proof of weakness. Pain is proof that you cared, that you tried, that you were emotionally invested in something meaningful. Mentally strong people are not immune to pain. They feel it, sometimes more deeply than others. The difference is not in what they feel, but in how they relate to it. When life feels unfair, pain often arrives uninvited. It shows up as disappointment, grief, rejection, or exhaustion. Sometimes it's loud and overwhelming. Other times it's quiet and heavy, sitting in your chest day after day. Many people judge themselves harshly for this pain. They say things like, "I should be over this by now." Or others have it worse, "Why can't I handle this?" But pain doesn't disappear because you shame it. It only goes deeper. Mental strength begins when you stop fighting your emotions and start listening to them. Pain is not your enemy. It's a signal. It tells you something mattered. It tells you a boundary was crossed. It tells you a loss needs to be acknowledged. Ignoring pain doesn't make you strong. Understanding it does. There is courage in allowing yourself to feel, in admitting that something hurt, in recognizing that you are not made of stone. Crying is not failure. Feeling overwhelmed is not defeat. Needing rest is not quitting. These are human responses to human experiences. When you deny yourself the right to feel pain, you don't become stronger, you become disconnected. Disconnected from your emotions. Disconnected from your needs. Disconnected from yourself. And over time, that disconnection turns into numbness, resentment, or burnout. Mentally strong people don't rush their healing. They don't set deadlines for recovery. They don't measure their pain against someone else's. They understand that healing is not linear. Some days you feel okay. Other days, the weight returns without warning. This doesn't mean you're moving backward. It means you're processing. Strength is not about how fast you recover. It's about how honestly you show up to the process. There is a quiet bravery in waking up each day while carrying invisible pain, in continuing to live, work, love, and try, even when your heart feels tired. That kind of endurance is rarely celebrated, but it is one of the deepest forms of strength. Life doesn't always give us time to prepare for loss or disappointment. Sometimes it simply happens suddenly and unfairly. And when it does, pain becomes part of the journey. You don't need to eliminate pain to be mentally strong. You need to learn how to hold it without letting it define you. Pain becomes destructive only when you believe it makes you less. But what if pain is not a sign of inadequacy, but evidence of depth? What if your sensitivity is not a flaw, but a source of awareness? People who feel deeply often understand life more fully. They notice subtleties. They empathize. They grow in ways others don't. Yes, pain can slow you down, but it can also shape you. It can teach you patience. It can teach you compassion for others and for yourself. It can teach you what truly matters. Mental strength does not require you to suppress pain. It requires you to carry it with dignity, to say, "This hurts, and I will still move forward," not because the pain is gone, but because you trust yourself to survive it. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are those who have been broken before. not shattered beyond repair, but cracked open in ways that force them to grow. They don't wear their strength loudly. It shows in their calm, in their understanding, in their refusal to give up on themselves. If you are hurting right now, it does not mean you are weak. It means you are alive. It means you are human. It means you are in the middle of becoming. Pain is not the end of your story. It is a chapter, one that is shaping your resilience. And one day, when you look back, you will realize something important. The pain you once thought would break you actually taught you how strong you are. Chapter 3. Stop comparing your life to others. Comparison is one of the quietest ways we betray ourselves. It doesn't arrive loudly. It slips in silently, through a scroll on your phone, a casual conversation, or a passing thought. And before you realize it, you begin questioning your progress, your worth, and your direction. You see someone else succeeding, someone else moving faster, someone else living a life that looks easier, happier, more complete. And suddenly, your own life feels smaller. Comparison has a unique way of distorting reality. It makes you forget how far you've come. It convinces you that your struggles mean you're falling behind. It whispers that you should be further along by now. But comparison is rarely honest. When you compare your life to others, you are not comparing whole stories. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You see their wins, not their sacrifices. Their confidence, not their doubt. Their outcomes, not their internal battles. No one posts their moments of confusion, loneliness, or fear. No one shares the nights they question themselves. No one advertises the cost of their success. Yet you measure your entire existence against the most polished version of someone else's life. That comparison will always feel unfair. Because it is. Your life is shaped by experiences no one else has lived. Your challenges are specific. Your timing is unique. There is no universal schedule for growth. There is no deadline for becoming who you are meant to be. And yet, comparison convinces you otherwise. It tells you that you're late, that you're behind, that something is wrong with you. But growth does not move in straight lines. Some paths are slower because they are deeper. Some journeys take longer because they are building something more lasting. When you compare yourself to others, you begin to abandon your own rhythm. You rush decisions. You chase goals that aren't truly yours. You try to fit into timelines that were never designed for you. This creates anxiety, not progress. Mental strength requires the courage to honor your own path even when it looks different, especially when it looks different. It takes strength to stay focused on your own journey, while the world constantly shows you others moving ahead. But real peace comes when you stop asking, "Why am I not where they are?" and start asking, "Am I moving in a direction that feels right for me?" Your life is not a competition. There is no prize for finishing first. Success without alignment feels empty. Progress without meaning feels exhausting. Many people achieve what others admire, yet feel disconnected from themselves. You don't see that part. You only see the applause. Comparison hides this truth. It convinces you that happiness exists somewhere else, in someone else's life, with someone else's achievements. But fulfillment is not found by imitation. It is found by authenticity. When you stop comparing, you regain mental clarity. You stop measuring your worth by external standards. You start valuing growth over appearance, depth over speed, alignment over approval. This shift is not instant. Comparison is a habit, and like any habit, it takes awareness to break. The first step is noticing when comparison arises, not judging yourself for it, but observing it. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is this comparison revealing insecurity, fear, or pressure? Often, comparison points to an unmet need within you, a desire for validation, a longing for progress, a fear of being left behind. Listen to that message without letting it control you. The second step is redefining success. Success is not a single destination. It is not the same for everyone. For some, success is peace of mind. For others, it is creative freedom. For others, it is stability, purpose, or healing. When you define success on your own terms, comparison loses its power. You stop chasing what looks good and start building what feels meaningful. The third step is practicing gratitude for your own path. Gratitude does not mean ignoring what you want to improve. It means acknowledging what has already shaped you. Your experiences, both good and bad, have given you insight, resilience, and depth. Those qualities cannot be rushed or replicated. They are earned through time and effort. Mental strength grows when you trust that your timing is not a mistake. Just because someone else arrived earlier does not mean you won't arrive at all. Different paths lead to different strengths, and often the people who take longer build foundations that last longer. When you stop comparing your life to others, you reclaim your focus. You stop wasting energy on jealousy or self-doubt. You invest it in growth, learning, and self-trust. You become more present, more grounded, more at peace with where you are. And from that place of peace, progress becomes natural. Remember this: you are not behind. You are not failing. You are not late. You are becoming. And that process does not need to look like anyone else's. Chapter 4. Learn to sit with discomfort. Most people are not afraid of failure. They are afraid of discomfort. The uneasy feeling in the chest, the restlessness in the mind, the uncertainty of not knowing how things will turn out. When life feels unfair, discomfort becomes unavoidable. Plans fall apart. Expectations break. And suddenly, you are forced to sit with emotions you would rather escape. So many of us have been conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs. We distract ourselves. We stay busy. We scroll, numb, suppress, and escape. Anything to avoid sitting alone with our thoughts. But discomfort is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Every time you run from discomfort, you teach your mind that it is dangerous. And over time, even small challenges begin to feel overwhelming. Mentally strong people understand something different. They don't run from discomfort. They learn how to sit with it. Sitting with discomfort does not mean enjoying pain. It means allowing it to exist without panic. It means saying, "This feels uncomfortable, and I can handle it." That sentence alone is powerful. Discomfort often signals growth. It appears when you are stepping into the unknown, when you are letting go of something familiar, when you are becoming someone new. Growth without discomfort is an illusion. Every meaningful change requires a period of unease, a time where the old no longer fits, but the new has not fully formed. This in-between space can feel unsettling, lonely, uncertain, and yet it is where transformation happens. When life feels unfair, you may feel an urge to fix everything immediately, to force clarity, to rush healing. But some answers only come with time, and some lessons only arrive when you stop resisting the moment. Mental strength is built by learning how to remain present, even when the present feels uncomfortable. This means allowing emotions to rise without immediately reacting to them. Instead of asking, "How do I make this go away?" you begin asking, "What is this trying to show me?" Discomfort has a message. It might be telling you that you need rest, or boundaries, or honesty, or change. When you sit with discomfort, you create space for understanding. At first, this is not easy. Your mind will try to distract you. It will replay scenarios. It will imagine worst-case outcomes. But if you stay with the feeling, breathe through it, observe it without judgment, something interesting happens. The discomfort softens, not because it disappeared, but because you stop fighting it. Resistance intensifies pain. Acceptance reduces it. This does not mean you accept suffering as permanent. It means you accept the present moment as it is. From that place of acceptance, you gain clarity. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop making decisions from fear. You begin responding with intention. Sitting with discomfort also builds trust in yourself. Each time you face an uncomfortable feeling, and realize you can survive it. Your confidence grows. You learn that emotions are temporary. That uncertainty is survivable. That discomfort does not define you. This is how resilience is formed. Many people believe mental strength is about control. Controlling emotions, controlling outcomes, controlling life. But true mental strength is about tolerance. The ability to tolerate discomfort without losing yourself. Life will always present moments of uncertainty. No amount of planning can eliminate that, but you can prepare your mind. You can teach yourself. That discomfort is not a threat. When you stop fearing discomfort, you stop fearing growth. You become willing to try, willing to fail, willing to sit in uncertainty without needing immediate reassurance. This is especially important when life feels unfair. Unfairness often leaves you without answers, without closure, without explanations. And yet, your peace does not have to wait for clarity. You can learn to exist in the questions, to trust that clarity will come, not through force, but through patience. Learning to sit with discomfort does not mean isolating yourself. It does not mean ignoring support. It means not abandoning yourself when things feel hard. It means staying present with your own experience instead of escaping it. With time, this practice changes you. You become less reactive, less anxious, more grounded. You begin to realize that discomfort is not something to fear. It is something to pass through. And on the other side of it, there is often growth, insight, and strength. Life may feel unfair. The path may feel uncertain. But you are capable of sitting with discomfort and continuing forward. That ability to remain present in difficult moments is one of the strongest skills you can develop. And once you have it, life no longer controls you in the same way. Chapter 5. Control what you can, release what you can't. One of the greatest sources of mental exhaustion is trying to control what was never in your control to begin with. When life feels unfair, the mind naturally searches for something to blame, something to fix, something to hold on to. We replay conversations. We analyze decisions. We imagine different outcomes. If only I had said this. If only they had done that. If only things had gone differently. But the past does not respond to effort, and neither do other people. Mental strength begins with a clear understanding of control. There are things you can influence, and there are things you cannot. Confusing the two drains your energy. You cannot control how others treat you. You cannot control whether people understand you. You cannot control every opportunity that passes you by. Trying to manage these things keeps your mind in a constant state of tension. But there are things you can control, and focusing on them changes everything. You can control how you respond. You can control how you speak to yourself. You can control the boundaries you set. You can control the actions you take today. This distinction is simple, but it is life-changing. Mentally strong people don't waste energy fighting reality. They accept what is out of their hands and redirect their effort toward what is within it. This doesn't mean they don't care. It means they care wisely. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over constant frustration. When you hold on to things you cannot control, you carry unnecessary weight. Anger toward people who won't change. Resentment toward situations that already happened. Fear about outcomes you can't predict. None of these emotions move you forward. They only keep you stuck. Releasing control begins with awareness. Notice where your energy goes. Notice what you are trying to fix. Ask yourself, is this something I can actually change? If the answer is no, holding on to it will only hurt you. Releasing does not mean forgetting. It means accepting that some things must be left behind. This acceptance creates mental space. And in that space, clarity grows. When you stop trying to manage the uncontrollable, you become more present. You stop living in constant reaction mode. You start making deliberate choices. Control over your response is powerful. You may not control how life treats you, but you control whether bitterness or wisdom grows from the experience. You control whether you allow unfairness to harden you or deepen you. This choice is not always easy. It requires practice. The mind will pull you back into worry, into resentment, into what-ifs. But each time you redirect your focus, you strengthen your mental discipline. Start small. Control your morning. The first thoughts you feed your mind. Control how you speak to yourself. Replace harsh criticism with honest compassion. Control your boundaries. Say no when something drains you. Protect your time and energy. These choices may seem minor, but they add up. They create a sense of stability, even when life feels unpredictable. Releasing what you can't control also means releasing the need for closure from others. Not every situation will make sense. Not every person will apologize. Not every story will have a clean ending. Waiting for closure keeps you tied to the past. Sometimes the closure you need is the decision to move forward without answers. This takes courage. It means trusting yourself more than the situation. It means believing that your peace does not depend on external resolution. Mental strength grows when you stop outsourcing your peace to circumstances you can't control. You begin to realize something important. Calm is an inside job. You can be steady even when life is chaotic. You can be grounded even when outcomes are uncertain. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what is not yours. Release is an ongoing practice, not a one-time decision. Some days you'll do it well. Other days you'll catch yourself holding on again. That's okay. Each time you notice, you get another chance to let go. And with each release, your mind becomes lighter. You feel less burdened, more focused, more present. Life may still be unfair. Challenges may still appear, but you will no longer feel powerless because you will know where your power lives, in your choices, your responses, and your ability to let go. That is where mental strength is built. Chapter 6. Silence is a form of strength. In a world that constantly encourages noise, silence is often misunderstood. We are taught to explain ourselves, to defend our actions, to prove our worth, to respond immediately. Silence, in contrast, is seen as weakness, as avoidance, passivity, or defeat. But mentally strong people understand something different. Silence is not absence. Silence is control. When life feels unfair, emotions can rise quickly. Anger, frustration, the urge to react. Someone misunderstands you. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Someone crosses a boundary. The instinct is to respond, to explain, justify, correct, or defend. But not every situation requires your voice. Not every opinion deserves your energy. And not every battle is worth fighting. Silence is the space where you choose yourself over unnecessary conflict. It is the decision to protect your peace instead of proving a point. This kind of silence is not passive. It is intentional. It requires self-awareness. It requires emotional regulation. And most of all, it requires confidence. When you are secure in who you are, you don't need constant validation. You don't need to convince others of your truth. You don't need to respond to every misunderstanding. Your actions speak for you. Silence becomes a boundary. It says, I don't need to engage with this. I don't owe an explanation here. I trust myself enough to let this go. This is especially powerful when life feels unfair. Unfair situations often provoke a desire to react emotionally, to demand justice, to be heard. But reacting from emotion often gives away your power. It allows others to dictate your state of mind. It pulls you into cycles of argument and exhaustion. Silence interrupts that cycle. It creates space between stimulus and response. In that space, you regain control. Silence also allows clarity to emerge. When you stop reacting immediately, you give yourself time to understand your emotions. Is this anger masking hurt? Is this frustration hiding disappointment? When you slow down, you respond with intention instead of impulse. Mentally strong people know that words spoken in emotional moments often create regrets. Silence protects you from saying things that don't align with who you want to be. It is a form of self-respect. This does not mean suppressing emotions. It means choosing the right time and place to express them. There is a difference between silence and avoidance. Avoidance ignores feelings. Silence acknowledges them without letting them take over. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer you can give. When someone tries to provoke you, when someone seeks a reaction, when someone thrives on conflict, your silence denies them that power. It communicates strength without aggression. There is also a deeper layer to silence, the silence you cultivate within yourself. In moments of chaos, mentally strong people return to inner stillness. They create moments of quiet through reflection, breathing, or solitude. This inner silence becomes an anchor. It helps them stay grounded when external circumstances feel unfair. Without inner silence, the mind becomes reactive. Thoughts race. Emotions overwhelm. With silence, the mind settles. And in that calm, perspective returns. Silence also teaches you discernment. You begin to understand which conversations matter and which ones drain you, which opinions deserve your attention, and which ones can be ignored. This discernment is a form of wisdom. Not everything needs a response. Not everything needs correction. Some things need distance. Learning when to be silent is learning when to conserve your energy. Energy is precious, especially during difficult seasons. Mental strength is not about speaking louder. It is about knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. There will be times when your voice is necessary, when boundaries must be stated, when truth must be expressed. Silence does not replace courage. It supports it. By practicing silence, you become more intentional with your words. When you do speak, your words carry weight. They come from clarity, not emotion. They reflect strength, not insecurity. Life will continue to test you. People will misunderstand you. Situations will feel unfair. In those moments, remember, you don't need to react to everything. Silence can be your refuge, your boundary, your strength, and often, your peace depends on it. Chapter 7. Build inner confidence, not outer approval. Many people spend their entire lives chasing approval without realizing the cost. Approval feels good. Compliment, recognition, being chosen, being praised. It gives a temporary sense of worth, a moment of relief. But when your confidence depends on external approval, your peace becomes fragile. It rises and falls with opinions, with attention, with validation that you don't control. When life feels unfair, this dependence becomes especially painful. You try harder. You explain more. You bend yourself to be accepted. And still, it never feels like enough. Inner confidence works differently. It does not depend on applause. It does not disappear when you are misunderstood. It does not collapse under criticism. Inner confidence is quiet, stable, and deeply rooted. It comes from knowing who you are, even when no one is watching. Outer approval is about being liked. Inner confidence is about being aligned. When you live for approval, you constantly adjust yourself to fit expectations. You say yes when you mean no. You hide parts of yourself to avoid judgment. You measure your worth by how others respond to you. Over time, this creates exhaustion. Because pretending is tiring, mental strength grows. When you stop asking, "Do they approve of me?" and start asking, "Do I respect myself?" Self-respect is the foundation of inner confidence. It comes from honoring your values, from keeping promises to yourself, from acting in ways that feel honest. This kind of confidence does not need to be announced. It is felt. People who have inner confidence do not seek constant reassurance. They trust their decisions, even imperfect ones. They allow themselves to be human. They understand that mistakes do not erase their worth. Outer approval is unpredictable. One day you are praised. The next day you are ignored. Building your identity on something so unstable keeps you emotionally dependent. Inner confidence frees you from that cycle. It allows you to stand steady, even when feedback is mixed or absent. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop letting others define you. There is a difference. You can value feedback without letting it determine your self-worth. You can listen without losing yourself. Inner confidence also helps you navigate unfair situations. When life feels unfair, people may judge your reactions. They may misunderstand your choices. They may question your pace or direction. Without inner confidence, these moments feel devastating. With it, they become manageable. You may still feel hurt, but you don't collapse, because your sense of worth is no longer outsourced. Building inner confidence is a process. It begins with self-awareness. Notice when you seek approval. Notice when you feel anxious without validation. Ask yourself, what am I afraid would happen if I didn't get approval? Often, the fear is rejection, or abandonment, or being seen as unworthy. But the truth is, you don't need everyone to accept you. You need to accept yourself. This acceptance does not mean ignoring growth. It means separating your worth from your performance. You are valuable even when you fail, even when you are unsure, even when others don't understand you. Inner confidence grows when you keep showing up for yourself, when you do what you said you would do, when you honor your boundaries, when you speak honestly, even if your voice shakes. Each small act of integrity strengthens your trust in yourself. And self-trust is powerful. It allows you to move forward without constant reassurance. It allows you to be alone without feeling lonely. It allows you to face unfairness without losing your center. People with inner confidence do not need to dominate conversations. They don't need to prove themselves constantly. Their calm presence speaks louder than words. This kind of confidence is not flashy. It is steady. And in difficult seasons, steady is what sustains you. Life will always bring opinions, judgment, comparison. You cannot control that, but you can choose where you build your sense of worth. Outer approval will always be uncertain. Inner confidence can be cultivated. And once it is, no unfair situation can take it away, because it belongs to you. Chapter 8. Turn pain into purpose. Pain is something most people try to escape. They avoid it. They distract themselves from it. They rush past it as quickly as possible. But pain has a strange power. When ignored, it lingers. When acknowledged, it transforms. Life often feels unfair because pain arrives without permission. Loss you didn't choose. Rejection you didn't expect. Circumstances you didn't create. In those moments, pain feels pointless, like suffering without meaning. But pain becomes destructive only when it is wasted. Mentally strong people do not waste pain. They don't glorify it. They don't enjoy it. But they listen to it. Pain has something to teach. Not immediately, but eventually. At first, pain demands attention. It disrupts your routines. It shakes your identity. It forces you to slow down. This disruption is uncomfortable, but it creates space for reflection. Purpose is often born in that space. When life is easy, we rarely question ourselves deeply. It is pain that makes us ask important questions. Who am I without this? What really matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? These questions are not asked in comfort. They are asked in struggle. Turning pain into purpose does not mean finding a positive meaning right away. It means allowing pain to shape you instead of hardening you. Some people become bitter. Others become wiser. The difference is not what they went through. It is what they did with it. Purpose does not always mean a grand mission. It does not always mean helping millions of people. Sometimes purpose is personal. It might mean becoming emotionally stronger, more compassionate, more aware. It might mean breaking cycles that once controlled you. It might mean choosing a different way forward. Pain often reveals values. It shows you what you will no longer tolerate, what truly matters to you, what kind of life you don't want to return to. These realizations are powerful. They guide future decisions. They shape boundaries. They influence goals. Mentally strong people allow pain to refine them. They ask, how can this make me better, not harder? This question does not erase pain, but it gives it direction. When pain has direction, it becomes fuel. Fuel for growth, fuel for change, fuel for purpose. Many people who live meaningful lives did not start with clarity. They started with struggle. They were confused, disappointed, lost, and slowly, through reflection, they transformed pain into insight. This process takes time. There is no deadline for meaning. Forcing purpose too early can feel invalidating. Some pain needs to be felt before it can be understood. Mental strength allows you to sit with pain without rushing its transformation. Over time, patterns emerge. You begin to notice how experiences shaped you. What once felt like random suffering starts to form a story. And in that story, you discover resilience. You realize that pain did not destroy you. It expanded you. It taught you empathy. It taught you patience. It taught you depth. These qualities cannot be learned through comfort. They are earned. Turning pain into purpose also means sharing your experience. Not necessarily publicly, but honestly. It means allowing your pain to inform how you treat others. You become more understanding, less judgmental, more present. Your experience becomes a quiet source of wisdom. And sometimes purpose becomes outward. You help others navigate what you once struggled with. You offer understanding without trying to fix. You become a source of calm, not because you have all the answers, but because you understand the questions. Life may still feel unfair, but pain gives you perspective. It helps you see beyond surface-level success, beyond appearances. You begin to value growth over recognition, meaning over validation. This shift changes how you move through life. You become intentional, thoughtful, grounded. Pain does not disappear, but it no longer controls you. It becomes part of your story, not the whole story. Purpose is not something you find overnight. It is something you build slowly, from what life gives you. Even the unfair parts, especially the unfair parts, because pain, when honored, has the power to shape a stronger, wiser, more compassionate version of you. And that transformation is never wasted. Chapter 9. Create daily mental strength habits. Mental strength is not something you suddenly discover in a crisis. It is something you build quietly, daily, often without noticing. When life feels unfair, many people wait to feel better before taking action. They tell themselves they will change when circumstances improve, when motivation returns, when clarity appears. But mental strength works the opposite way. You don't wait for strength to appear. You build it through small, consistent habits, especially on difficult days. Habits shape your mind long before emotions catch up. Daily mental strength habits do not need to be dramatic or intense. In fact, the simpler they are, the more effective they become. The goal is not to fix your entire life. The goal is to stabilize your inner world. One of the most powerful habits is how you begin your day. The first thoughts you allow into your mind set the emotional tone for everything that follows. If your day begins with rushing, scrolling, or stress, your nervous system stays on edge. Mentally strong people create intentional mornings. This doesn't mean waking up early or following a perfect routine. It means starting the day gently. A few quiet minutes, a deep breath, a moment of awareness. This pause reminds your mind that you are in control of your attention. Another important habit is self-talk. Your internal dialogue is constant. It interprets every experience. When life feels unfair, self-talk often becomes harsh. You criticize yourself. You replay mistakes. You assume the worst. Mental strength grows when you learn to speak to yourself differently. Not with fake positivity, but with honesty and compassion. Instead of, "I can't handle this," you say, "This is difficult and I'm learning." Instead of, "I'm failing," you say, "I'm adjusting." These small shifts change how your brain responds to stress. They reduce overwhelm. They increase resilience. Another daily habit is creating boundaries around your energy. Mental exhaustion often comes from giving too much attention to things that drain you. Constant news, endless comparisons, unnecessary conversations. You don't have to disengage from the world completely, but you do need to be selective. Mentally strong people protect their energy without guilt. They limit exposure to what destabilizes them. They choose depth over noise. This choice is not selfish. It is necessary. Reflection is another powerful habit. Not overthinking, reflection. Taking time to ask yourself simple questions. What drained me today? What gave me energy? What did I handle better than before? These questions build awareness. Awareness leads to adjustment, and adjustment leads to growth. Journaling can help, but reflection doesn't have to be written. It can happen during a walk, in silence, before sleep. What matters is the habit of checking in with yourself. Movement is also essential. Mental strength is connected to the body. When emotions are heavy, movement helps release stored tension. This doesn't require intense exercise. A walk, stretching, breathing deeply. These actions signal safety to the nervous system. They ground you in the present moment. Consistency matters more than intensity. Another daily habit is practicing gratitude, not as a performance, but as a grounding tool. Gratitude does not erase pain. It provides balance. It reminds you that life contains more than struggle. Even on hard days, there are moments of stability. A meal, a conversation, a quiet moment. Noticing these moments trains your mind to see more than what is wrong. This doesn't deny unfairness. It prevents despair. Sleep is also a mental strength habit. Rest is not a luxury. It is foundational. A tired mind magnifies problems. A rested mind manages them. Protecting your sleep is one of the strongest choices you can make. Finally, mental strength is built through patience. Progress will be uneven. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel tired again. This does not mean the habits aren't working. It means you are human. Growth is happening beneath the surface. Small habits compound quietly. Over time, they create stability. They give you a sense of control, even when life feels unpredictable. And that sense of control, rooted in daily choices, becomes your anchor. Life may still feel unfair. Challenges may still appear. But with daily mental strength habits, you become less reactive, more grounded, more resilient. And slowly, you realize something important. You are not just surviving difficult moments. You are building a mind strong enough to carry you through them. Chapter 10. Becoming Unbreakable, Turning Pain into Personal Power. There comes a moment in life when you realize something quietly powerful. Life may never become fair, but you can become unbreakable. Not hard, not cold, not emotionally shut down. Unbreakable in a deeper way, rooted, aware, steady. This chapter is not about pretending the pain never happened. It's about understanding how everything you've been through has already shaped a strength inside you that most people never discover. Unfair experiences don't just test you. They train you. And once you understand that, you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" You begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Pain is not the enemy, resistance is. Most people think pain is what breaks them. But pain alone doesn't destroy a person. What truly damages us is resisting reality, resisting the fact that something ended, resisting the truth that someone hurt us, resisting the unfairness we didn't choose. When you fight reality, you fight a battle you cannot win. And that internal war drains your mental strength far more than the situation itself. Becoming unbreakable begins with a radical shift. Acceptance is not surrender. It is alignment. Acceptance says, this happened. I don't like it, but I will stop bleeding by fighting what already exists. The moment you stop arguing with reality, your energy returns. And with energy comes clarity. With clarity comes power. The difference between strong people and unbreakable people. Strong people push through pain. Unbreakable people transform it. Strength alone can lead to burnout. Unbreakability comes from integration. Unbreakable people don't deny their emotions. They don't rush healing. They don't pretend to be okay. They allow the pain to teach instead of only hurt. Ask yourself quietly, what did this experience reveal about my limits? What did it show me about people? What did it teach me about what I truly value? When you extract meaning from suffering, it stops being wasted pain. And meaning is what turns trauma into wisdom. Your story is not a wound, it's a weapon. Many people carry their past like a scar they want to hide. But unbreakable people carry their past like a map. They know where they've been. They know what they survived. They know how much it took to keep going. Your story, the rejection, the loss, the betrayal, the unfair setbacks, is proof of something powerful. You endured what once felt impossible. That means you already have evidence of your resilience. When life challenges you again, and it will, you won't face it as someone untested. You'll face it as someone who has been here before and didn't disappear. That confidence is quiet, but it's unshakable. Stop waiting to feel ready. One of the biggest illusions unfair life creates is this belief. I'll move forward when I feel stronger. But strength doesn't arrive before action. It arrives because of action. Unbreakable people move forward while still tired, while still unsure, while still carrying emotional weight. They don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. Even small steps, showing up, staying consistent, choosing self-respect, rebuild your identity. And identity is the foundation of mental strength. You don't need to feel fearless. You just need to refuse to stay frozen. Rebuilding trust with yourself. Unfair experiences often damage one thing deeply: self-trust. You question your judgment. You doubt your choices. You replay moments thinking, how did I not see that coming? But becoming unbreakable means rebuilding trust, not with the world, but with yourself. Self-trust is rebuilt when you keep small promises to yourself. You honor your boundaries. You listen to your intuition instead of dismissing it. You walk away when something feels wrong. Every time you choose yourself, you repair that inner bond. And once you trust yourself, the world becomes less threatening, even when it's unfair. Why unfair life creates deeper purpose. People who live easy lives often live shallow ones. But people who suffer deeply often develop compassion, emotional intelligence, perspective, purpose. Your pain expands your capacity to understand others. It sharpens your sense of meaning. It pushes you to live intentionally. You don't just want success anymore. You want peace. You want alignment. You want truth. And that depth, that seriousness about life, is a quiet advantage most people never gain. You are not behind, you are becoming. One of the cruelest lies unfair life whispers is, you're falling behind. But growth is not linear. Healing is not visible. Becoming unbreakable is an internal process. While others may appear ahead, you are developing something they may never have: inner stability. And when life shifts, as it always does, inner stability matters far more than external speed. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are becoming someone who cannot be easily shaken. The final truth about mental strength. Mental strength is not about controlling life. It's about controlling your response. You cannot prevent unfairness. You cannot avoid loss. You cannot guarantee outcomes. But you can choose. not to abandon yourself, not to lose your values, not to let bitterness define you. That choice, repeated daily, is what makes a person unbreakable. And once you reach that place, life may still be unfair, but it will never own you again. Closing message. If life feels unfair right now, remember this. You are not being punished. You are being shaped. One day, you will look back and realize this chapter didn't break you. It built you.